The late 50s and early 60s had seen the explosion of rock and roll. At your school, Commonweal Grammar in Swindon, several groups sprang up. You joined one called the Sapphires, and out of school you play in youth clubs and at the back of rooms of pubs with different groups. At various times you were a woodpecker, an offbeat and a rebel. And the first semi-professional group you joined was the Whispers, and later known as All Things Bright. At one concert you supported the Hollies.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, Christopher Richardson, you were the drummer of All Things Bright, weren't you?
I was. But for young lads, actually, we were doing quite well, and we never used to do washing, so if we had a dirty shirt, we'd throw it away and buy a new one.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Well, in 1965, you moved to London. You'd seen an advertisement in the Melody Maker placed by someone looking for a guitarist to make up a trio. You didn't hang about. By return of post, you were called to audition at a house in Blackheath, but you didn't know who you were going to meet there.
No idea.
And when I opened the front door, you got the surprise of your life.
One of Britain's rock and roll pioneers, he had 13 consecutive hits. Here with his wife Joyce, Marty Wilde. Now, Marty, at first you were a bit dubious about taking Justin on, weren't you?
I was, because A, he was younger, B, he was very slim, very good-looking, and he had so much talent. He was a great guitarist. I was rather worried about him for a while.
But you took him on and you gave him some good advice.
I did. I advised him to take up songwriting as quickly as he could. I did say that,
Yeah, best advice I ever had, that's for sure.
Joyce,
I'm sorry, Michael. Marty was always the star. I mean, Joyce is the greatest backing singer that you could ever have, and the best singer you could ever buy. But I used to just watch Marty every night and just used to think, that's it, you know, that's how it's done. And it was just a wonderful time for me. I learnt so much. I learnt everything in that time.
But Joyce, you were part of the trio and you didn't have any doubts at all about Justin.
No, actually, I always believed he was a star, has star quality. I did think that, and managed to talk Marty into signing Justin up as part of our trio, and we managed to top the bill, didn't we, at the top of the London Palladium?
Yeah, absolutely.
Once.
Fantastic, yeah.
Well, Joyce, you weren't the only member of the Wilde dynasty to be impressed.
Hi Justin, when you were working with my parents, I was only a toddler, but I do remember I had my first crush on you. I thought you were lovely, and I still do. I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight, but there's another man in my life now, and we're on honeymoon. All my love to you, and enjoy your special night. Mwah.
Thank you very much, the Wilde Bunch. In 1966, you moved on from Marty's band and you joined the Moody Blues. In 1967, you released your revolutionary new album, Days of Future Past. It remained in the Billboard charts for 2 years. After huge success all over Europe, you made your first American tour in October 1968. That, of course, was the era of groupies, flower power and love-ins. Interesting times, John?
Very interesting. We were pretty naive, you know, because America was a huge place and somewhere new, and still funds were pretty low. And we were staying at motels, and Justin and I used to share a room. And then one night there was a knock on the door, and Justin went to the door and opened the door. And there was this beautiful girl there with a long fur coat, with long hair. And she sort of peeled off this coat in the dark, and she was totally stark naked underneath. And Justin's looking, and she said, "Can I come in?" And Justin's looking at it. "You can't come in. John's blow-drying his hair."
Well, in the late 60s, you and Marie became friendly with one of the great names of the musical theatre. For a while, you both share his house in Fulham. Now he's in Miami Beach. Your old friend, Lionel Bart.
Oh my God, when I think about when we met in the early 60s, and I had the big old fun palace, they said the party lasted 3.5 years there. And you and Marie came and moved in with me. You were always on the road. You used to come back to my house, and I'd usually be working then. I was a late night worker. and you strum the guitar, and I'd show you what I'd been doing, and we'd exchange a few ideas. And I always loved the work, Just. I always loved your work. You know, there's a certain purity and a truth that you have. Natural-born songwriter. There aren't many of us left. I'll always treasure our friendship. You and Marie and Dorothy are really part of my family. It's a bluff.
Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you.
Honoring.
Your parents were, of course, delighted with your success, but sadly your father was only able to enjoy your early triumphs. He died in 1969.
Yeah.
A year later, you and Marie were married at St John's Church in Hampton Wick. You had booked the bridal suite at the Dorchester, and you hurried to get there before 10 o'clock. So Justin was always the romantic, was he, Marie?
Yes, very romantic. We had to be there before 10 because that's when much of the day started.
Well, your daughter, Doremi, was born on December the 3rd, 1972. Doremi, you're a rock tour veteran. What are your earliest memories of those days?
One of my first memories is being about 3 or 4, and Dad had just played a concert in London, and we left the arena and got into a limo. And there were people banging on the limo windows and on the roof, and I turned to Dad and I said, all these people are saying hooray for you, Daddy. And I think that must have been when I realised what he did for a living.
Yeah.
But I've had a fantastic growing up experience to be on tour, and it's been wonderful to spend so much time with my father.
Thank you. Well, Justin, for your 1973 tour of the States, the band hired a private 707 jet called Starship One, which is a bit of a step up from the old transit van.
Yeah.
What was it like? Was it a sort of flying hotel?
It was. I mean, it had a couple of bedrooms on it, but it had a guy that had like a Hammond organ, didn't it? Built into a bar, and a couple of stewardesses, and lots of people that we didn't know actually were involved.
Well, after that mega tour, the Moodies took a 4-year break from touring and recording, and it gave you, of course, the chance to work on albums of your own. You joined John Lodge in making the beautiful Blue Jays in 1975. And 1977 saw the release of the first of your 5 solo albums, Songwriter. One of your major collaborations was a version of the H.G. Wells story, The War of the Worlds.
I watch the birds fly south across the autumn sky, and one by one they disappear. I wish that I was flying with them. Now you're not here.
Forever Autumn, and here is the man who created that hit with you, Jeff Wayne. Jeff, you were keen to work with Justin.
That's right, Michael, I certainly was. You know, just when I was composing the score for The War of the Worlds, there were 2 songs within it that, to me, ideally suited your voice and your very distinctive vocal style.
Yeah.
Your performance on it was sheer magic, and you really made that song your very own. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
Thank you, Jeff.
So, my friend, congratulations on tonight, and for a very long and distinguished career.
Thank you, Jeff.
Good to see you.